No, she don't went and got
from the kitchen.
No. Y'all, welcome back. It's the next episode. I really have lost count. I think this is episode 6.
Right.
I believe episode 6. And if you're new here, if this is your first time watching, this is my best friend, April.
Hi.
April, what's up? April is in the building.
Just living life to the best that I can. With the Lord.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I really do.
Yes.
That's what I can really do. Y'all, I hope y'all caught the last episode because I apologize to April. I have been bleeding on my best friend, y'all. Y'all know I was very honest with y'all about my journey and my trauma and learning from that, growing from that. And I realized that I was so negative. And my best friend here is in a relationship. And we started our healing journeys, not at the same time. I started mine in 2017. Do you remember what year you started yours? Or she started
fully committed
after?
2020, but it was on and off. Okay. I'd say maybe 2017-ish as well. But it was on and off for me, so I wasn't fully committed.
Got you. Yeah, I was in there. And then it just seemed like I kept getting like deeper and deeper. Like the Lord kept digging me deeper and deeper, which is cool. You know, I done forgave him or whatever. Like, I done forgave the Lord. No, I just feel like I always had something else that I had to heal from. But I realized now that I had a lot of trauma. So because of that trauma, I was looking at relationships through a very unhealed perspective. And my best friend is also healing, and she is in a relationship. Hold on. Let me see. Is this still recording? Does it still show you that it's recording on your side?
Yes. The leave button is lit up in red. Oh, it is. It's record because it's at the top left corner. Record.
Okay, good. I don't know why there's an issue. But
the devil is a lie.
The devil is a lie. Hold on, let's try again. It's telling me to start recording. So hold on. We'll try this. Oh, okay. So yeah, it has been recording. So you know, sometimes it be
you can get on out the way because not today.
Okay, close that. Okay. So, yeah, I was looking at relationships just from a very unhealed perspective. And I realized that I was bleeding out on my best friend. And my best friend was just so gracefully allowing me to bleed on her. Just just throwing up just everything. I mean, call her cussing, like crying, or I'm like cussing and whatever I was going through, having breakdowns, like you name it, I was having it. And my best friend was just so graceful. So I wanted to apologize to her. I've apologized to her privately, but I also wanted to apologize to her publicly. And I want to apologize to you, my sistership, if you're watching, because I do realize that a lot of the things that I was saying or doing on my social media platforms did come from a broken place. And I was looking through and giving advice from a broken place. And that's not something I want to do. Now, I do still stand on the fact that I'm comfortable being single until someone else comes along and proves to me that it's more beneficial to not be. Like, if someone can come along and show me that, they're a good guy and, it's meant to be, I feel like I'm now open to it and I can see it with a healed perspective. Now, this episode is also about something that I realized, another revelation I received as the Lord began to tell me how unhealed I was. He then began to tell me the reason why I was unable to see through the correct lenses and from the incorrect perspective. And that's because I was grieving unknowingly. And grieving will alter your perspective. And so, because I was grieving the loss of my father in 2021, it was hard for me to, first of all, I didn't even know I was grieving, because I'm the type of person, like, of course, I knew I was sad. I mean, it's your parent, you lost your parent. I know it's sad and it was crying. And I'm the type of person that, like, if I'm going through something, I kind of want to do it alone. Like, I ain't trying to cry in front of you. I don't want, leave me alone. I ain't trying to do that. So it was easy for me to, I guess, kind of bury the grief, or so I thought. And I mean, even my brother, like, he showed up. We have different dads. So my brother showed up to my apartment, knocking on the door. I had been ignoring everybody's phone call. And I texted everybody. It was like, I even texted my mom, and I was like, my dad died, and she tried to call me, and I think I may have answered the phone for her, but I texted you, April, and I texted my siblings, and my brother tried to call me. I wouldn't answer. So he just shows up, which is rude, rude. I'm trying to sit over here and suck, which I know he meant well. I do know he meant well. But for somebody like me that's like, just let me have to myself. I didn't know I was grieving. And I didn't know that I would be grieving this long. And so, of course, I would get into relationships or situationships. I wouldn't even call them relationships after my dad passed away, that were not with people of quality, for lack of better ways of putting it. And I now know that I just couldn't see. Number one, I couldn't vet correctly because my heart was broken. So how can you really vet from a broken place? You can't. You just can't. And then on top of that, the traumatic things I went through. What's the right way to say it? The traumatic things I went through while I was in those relationships. It was hard for me to heal that. So I just packed on. If you think about it, like, I'm grieving. Now I got to heal this. I got to heal you cheating on me. Now I got to heal you putting your hands on me. Now I got to heal you trying to steal from me. Now I got to heal you. I got to heal all of this. And it's growing and growing and growing until finally it's just like, you know what? Break. Like, that's when you broke. And I feel like that, or when I broke, and that's when I was just like, you know what? Forget it. I don't care. Like, this is where I'm at, and I don't care, because this is obviously what God wanted. And I didn't even get to that point until this year. I was just mad. Like, whatever. I'm just not going to talk to nobody. This is how niggas is. Like, trying not to, this is how dudes are. Like, it is what it is. Like, me. And so that's when I first started. And then when I realized, okay, Faith, this is where you are. And I know you want to be single because you've been hurt. When I realized, okay, God is sovereign. So he had to know I was going to get here. There's no way that he just knew. So he must want me to be single. I was using it like, God's sovereign. So he must want me to be single because he knew I was going to go through all that. So he knew, because he know me, he knew I was going to go through all that. He knew I wasn't going to want to talk to nobody. He knew I was not going to want to deal with nobody because he know me. And then I'm like, why would you let that happen if you knew me? Like, you know me. You know me well enough to know. You do that, I'm done. It was like he needed me to get to that point. So I'm like, okay, God, you're sovereign. You wanted me to get here until I got the revelation. Yeah, he's sovereign. You went through all of that. He knew. But what you're missing is he's going to take what the enemy meant for evil and turn it good. You've been grieving. That's where it started. So, grief. I know we talked about this. I know you understand it. Tell me your understanding of grief.
Grief is like a mystery box to me because there's so many different things that you can grieve. Yes, the most common one is grieving a family member, someone that's really close to you, a loved one. Grief can be grieving something about yourself that you know you need to let go, but you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can grieve the Holy Spirit. You can even grieve people that are actually alive. So there's so many different avenues that grief can be on. It's not put in one particular box. It's complex. Everyone deals with it differently. And who's to say it's right or wrong? Now, some stuff, yeah, if you're harming yourself, no, no. But sometimes grief can blossom into something great in your life. With me, for instance, as you know, I was in a friendship relationship with someone who unfortunately passed away. That was really tough for me because even though we knew each other for a short amount of time, it felt like I knew him for all of my life. You know, you ever meet some people like that? So
absolutely.
For me, I knew I was grieving and I knew I could not sit in it because I don't like myself when I am sad or in a negative funk, you know, because that's not me. That's not my personality. Mm-hmm. So I gave myself a week and I gave myself a weekend. All right, you do what you got to do. You cry, you pray, you journal, do what you got to do, get it out and let it go. Let it go. I remember having a dream about him and it was as if he knew that he was gone, but somehow we were talking on the phone and I was trying to figure out where he was and he wouldn't tell me. And I woke up and I'm like, okay, all right. Maybe that's him saying, just let me go. Like, you can't find me. Just let me go. So I did. And that's when I started my YouTube channel, out of grief. Which, you know, that was not my intention to start my YouTube channel out of grief, but that's what happened. Even though I haven't posted as much as I want to, but yeah, grief can lead to something great, even though it feels horrible at the moment. And there is no time limit on your grief either.
Right. Can I just say, and I'm going to call you out because I love it. No, you're like, wait a minute. No, you are the type of person that you don't really show your emotions either. You didn't at first. I feel like you've healed to this point where, or at least you didn't show them, like, to me. And I feel like it was in that season when you were grieving that I finally saw raw emotion from you. Now, on that level. Now, we used to work together, y'all. So, we have raw emotion about our job. Like, who don't? But as far as, like, vulnerability, I feel like it was that grief that taught you how to be more vulnerable, too. Because you were very vulnerable with me. Like, I've never seen that side of you. And, I mean, in a way where you were just like so emotionally honest, because you do have a wall up, like And even though, like, we best friends, and you know, your wall is down a little more with me, but you can still have a wall up. Like, it's not a bad one. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You still have like just a wall. Like how I said, like, I don't really like to, you know, cry in front of people or whatever. I feel like you kind of had something like that too. So when I seen you grieving like that, it was something different for me as well. Just as your best friend, to see you go through that, like, it just, I mean, I remember telling you, April, you gotta get it out. Like, you gotta cry it out. You gotta cry it out. I've been there. I know you have got to cry it out. And you did. And something beautiful blossomed from it. And that doesn't mean that, you know, so what, you're not uploading every day. You will be soon. I know you will be soon. I hope. Right. I be trying to, like, you know, talk my little talk and, like, uplift her and like, girl, post it.
Thanks for the encouragement.
But something beautiful did come from that. You not just your YouTube channel. I feel like, as an outsider looking in, I feel like you were able to recognize different emotions. Like, you were able to really look at raw things for what they were. And I don't know that you were really doing that before. And if you were, I didn't see that. Like, you kind of probably did that to yourself. Like when you were by yourself.
I can agree with you. Yes, I do have a wall. It's because of past friendships, and we've talked about that. I guess for me, I never really had a safe place to talk about my emotions. So I always write. Like, I've been writing in a diary since I was in the 3rd grade. So I've been writing for a long time, and getting back into writing, that helps me put my emotions on paper so I can look at them and get them out of my head. I tend to keep things to myself because, like I said, don't have a safe place. And you know how people are. You tell them certain things and they'll flip it on you and use it against you, you know. So I have to be careful about where I leave my words and where I leave my feelings. Because I've had way too many people just bring them up in other conversations and tear me apart and make fun of me. And, you know, it's just like, really, y'all. But that's where it comes from. So I agree with you. I do have a wall up in certain areas of my life. Yes.
Yeah. But I think that going through that and you just being on your journey in general, I feel like it's allowed you. Now, I ain't saying go out here and tell everybody your feelings. Like, you ain't gotta do that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, I feel like you, maybe it's just because I just saw a different side of you and I was like, oh wow, like, I can relate so much more now. Like, I get it, you know, like, just the pain of losing someone, and it doesn't matter what your relationship is to them at that point. And I've talked about this, like, I lost an ex, and I can't really say I lost an ex, but an ex of mine passed away. He OD'd, and we weren't together. We ain't been together in years, but it's still like I had to grieve that. Like, it was still really hard. So I knew that it just, you needed to definitely, like, dig into that. And I'm so glad that not only did it start your YouTube channel, but I feel like it started you on a trajectory of just self-love, period.
Yes, I agree. Because I do or did have the tendency to put other people's feelings ahead of mine. That people-pleasing thing that I am working on getting rid of because it's not healthy for me. But yeah, I'm glad you saw that. I didn't see that until you brought it up. But grief, oh my gosh, it's painful. Like it really is. For me, the hardest part is knowing that I can never speak to that person ever again.
No, because if you pull out I was looking, she gonna pull that paper towel out. I can't get over the paper towel. But no.
It's so limited. Like you can't talk to the person. You can't see them ever again. All you have is your memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know it's a part of life, grief is. It's just really hard navigating through it sometimes.
Did you turn your camera off? Okay. I was fixing to say, wait.
I ain't touched nothing. I guess they don't want to see me cry or something.
Black for a second. No, that is the realest thing. Realizing that you can't talk to them again. And can we just be honest with the people really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm grieving someone, you don't have to give the full, I don't want you to give the full situation away because that's your business. But I'm grieving someone that has passed away and you're grieving someone that's still alive.
Yeah. For the first time, like I've never had to grieve. Yes.